why don't we just agree on the definition that you provide and see whether we can actually work on that one?
Well, I don't believe I have a religion. I don't have a definition for a religion, but yours is a way of life, a way of thinking.
No, I wouldn't have a problem with that. So basically, everyone has their own way of going about things, right?
Yes, of course.
So this is what we call our ideologies around life. So I have an idea which is so deep-rooted, and this is my ideology. So I may be very compassionate to animals and I become a vegetarian.
Yes, I am.
That could be my religion. That could be my way of life. You can define it in whatever you want. Okay, so that's not a problem, identifying yourself in that way.
No.
I think
what for me that is not the way that I am thinking about religion is by organized by religion. I think that is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about ethics or morals because of course I have them. I'm a human like everyone else. But for me, that is more just the way that I conduct myself. That's more my personality. It's not a religion to me.
Sure. Because the idea of religion to most people is an organized religion, centralized to a linkage to a deity of some kind, or absence of a deity,
that
right?
Is the way I'm
that's how you think about religion. Okay. So I think what the brother is trying to say that's fine. There's no point agreeing or disagreeing with this one. At least we live our lives according to certain principles that we uphold. That's what it is, right? Now the question is, how should we live our lives? People disagree with that. You may say, look, I think we should live our life in mutual trust. We should live our life in harmony and compassion with each other. We should live our life according to principles which are good. So it could be that, okay, I should not harm you, you should not harm me.
Yes.
Yeah? That I should be kind when kindness is needed or not needed. Yeah, regardless. I mean, somebody may be in a need of help. It doesn't have to be me, but I can still show some kindness just because I think it's better to help. Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
So these kind of things we live our life by, but what the difference in the approach that you and other people may have is actually rest on our own existence.
Yes.
Okay? So you'll have an idea, an understanding of what you're supposed to do in this life, but is it necessarily linked with where did you come from? What are you doing here? And where are you going to go after you die, for example?
Yes.
These are central questions that I'm sure you have thought about it, haven't you? Right? Right. So this is where our differences may be. You may think, no, there is no God, there is no creator, the universe is what it is. Science gave us an understanding of this world, everything is natural.
It's true, but it does not give me a complete understanding, but yes, I
something. And then what happens after life is, let's say everyone dies and the worm comes and eats you and so on and so forth. You can have an idea, an ideology based on this, okay? But does it give you, based on these ideologies, does it give you the comfort in your heart and the tranquility in your heart?
Yes.
Does it?
I am a happy, tranquil person with my place in life. I am happy with my place in the world and my ethics and my morals and the way I interact with other people, and I don't think, for me at least, it's not necessary to have that specific idea of religion with the deity and the books and the teachings, but I understand that is very important to some people and I am completely fine with that. It's only once it starts to impact on my way of life and the way those people conduct themselves around me, and like I believe religion can be wonderful. I believe it gives some people a wonderful place and a wonderful community, but I don't think it's necessary, and for me it's not my believings. It's not.
Do you think life is meaningful without God?
Yes.
Okay. So suppose now the idea of God is man-made. I'm going to try the negative part of it, the other aspect. Suppose there is no God, no creator, no originator. That means the world is there. Whether question about.
Is that not fantastic?
No. Let's take it to the right conclusions. So the world is there. People have different ideas about this world. Now, how is life meaningful? Because whatever you think, there is no such a right or wrong thing. Because everything is meaningless in the sense that everything. Let me tell you why I think this is the case.
Sure.
Okay, and then perhaps you can argue with me. Because there's no creator, the concept of justice doesn't arise. Because what do you mean by justice? Nothing brought you into this life. Nothing asks you to be good. Nothing demands you to be good and just. So you live your life. Now, if something makes you happy, right? Say, what makes you happy is cheating people, deceiving people, to climb up the ladder, to be famous and successful. You get more money and you get more position and more power. If that makes you happy, for example, why should you stop cheating, deceiving? Because there is no morality that says that's wrong, because there is no idea of right and wrong in this case.
I don't know if humans are born with an inept sense of what is right and wrong.
There's no such thing.
But
in that view.
No, it isn't, because that is my view. And I was brought up by two atheist parents in a rather atheist community, and I still learned to be kind to others because we are a human race. We are in this world together. We are in this world to support each other and to help each other grow. And of course, there will be people who get by in life by cheating and hurting other people.
Are they wrong?
Yes.
Why?
Because we as a society, at least in this society, I don't know around the world, but we want to grow. We have created a place where we innovate, where we create, where we try and support each other. And for all those things to continue, we need to have those morals, we need to have those ethics, and they might differ a little bit. Some people might think truth is more important than kindness, or like things like that, and they're very important as well because people are different. But still, if you hurt someone, then someone hurts someone back, and then it does get to you. So there are effects and causes and consequences. So if you aren't morally right or wrong, those come back to hurt you, and we learn. That's how children learn. Because if you're unkind to your friend, if you kick her and she kicks you back, that hurts you. That affects you. The circle continues, and we learn how to be just. I'm not saying everyone is just. I'm not saying everyone is kind. I'm not saying everyone has the right morals.
I'm thinking differently, because if there is no originator who originated us for a reason in this life, then there is no concept of justice or morality or any good values and principles. You are introducing this into your way of life, your ideology, because you think you are afraid, what we call, of something reciprocal happening to you.
Yes.
If you are hurting someone, hurt might come to you. But suppose now you are in a position of power, a Brazilian drug lord. Nothing can hurt you. You have the power and the position and the tools to protect you. You live like a king. You exploit and abuse people with your intent and might, and you die like a king. And you get away from the justice that you think so exists, right? Now,
But in your...
so, no, in this case, why should someone be afraid? Because that person says, look, I have the power, I can just blow up people just like that because I have the means. Press of a button, I can destroy the whole city, for example. So if someone does, so according to your thinking, if someone doesn't have the fear, then they're okay to actually live their life with deception, with bad morality of, you know, killing people, murdering, raping. So it's okay for them.
Well, yes, because we have those people in this society right now. Even with religion, we have those people in every single society.
So are you saying it's okay for them to do that?
I'm not saying it's okay for them to do that, but they will continue to be here.
No, let's understand again one thing. I want to know your reasons. Your reasons of why we should have ethics and morality is that fear that if I don't do good to others, bad will be done to me. Like,
I think, we learn.
Right,
we learn lessons,
right.
And that is how humans
So
learn.
what if...
That is how we teach children.
Yeah, what if that fear is not in the equation?
How do we get rid of that fear? How do we get rid of human interaction?
The reasons why you're trying to be good, trying to be just and kind, and not to abuse and exploit and deceive people and be dishonest, it seems to be linked to the idea that the loss of something in return if you didn't behave that way.
Like, I assume in your religion you get taught to be kind and to have those ethics correct. Let's let religion aside. No, I'm not talking.
We are talking on a principle. I apologize to cut you off. I apologize. We are talking on a principle level. There is no God. There is no originator. So we are there floating around in the universe, making a life meaningful to our own selves. Now, so why should one who is not afraid, have no fear that police will come and get me and people will come and get me? Because you're... No, let's understand something. We are trying to understand these issues of being kind and good and just. If there is no fear associated with you, then to kill someone unjustly and to rape someone, murder someone, cheat and exploit and abuse, all the bad things that you know of, right? To do these things, why would that be not okay?
because you still live in a society that honors. I'm not.
Doesn't care. That person doesn't care.
Of course.
What makes him happy is what he cares or she cares. For example, if I was a Brazilian drug lord and I'm not afraid of anyone or anything, I have the power and the means to live my life like a king and abuse and exploit and do all the bad things that you would abhor and say desist. Don't do that. Suppose now I am in a position, why should I live the way you're living? Like, oh, try to be charitable. No, I don't need to. What makes me happy is by killing people, for example. Suppose killing people makes me happy. So you're saying and my way of thinking is actually okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm not saying that.
Why would my thinking of my way of life be wrong?
Because there is still a society with values.
I don't care. I don't care.
And those people exist even in this society.
No. I don't care because at the end of the day,
there are going to be horrible people.
No, listen.
There are going to be horrible people.
My sister in humanity. Yes. If there is no consequence and justification of our actions in your beliefs, if there is no accountability and responsibility in the hereafter.
By other humans, not by a higher source. By others.
What I'm saying is, leave others aside. I don't care what.
Yes, sure, but if you are leaving
suppose.
others aside,
No,
then
suppose.
No, I want to talk, please.
Go ahead.
Those people will exist no matter what society we are in.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with if we're living in a society controlled by the Bible, by the Quran, by atheism, by science. Those people are always going to exist. People have no disregard. I mean, we have disregard for other people's well-being. I'm not saying like everyone. I don't want everyone to be an atheist. That is my
what I didn't understand is if I'm in a position of power and authority, right? Then my way of life is my way of life that makes me happy, right? So if killing people makes me happy, you shouldn't say, you shouldn't do that, because that's your way of life, maybe not to kill others. No, we're not talking about religion. You're confusing the issue. I'm saying we're living in a model. Let's understand this. No, you don't understand my point though. I am saying, suppose we agree there is no God by sake of argument. If there is no God, there is no moral accountability.
That is not true. You
No.
accountability to your other human
Where did that come from? No. Where did that accountability come from? No. Where did that come from?
I told you before, there is a sense of fear that is part of it.
But if I'm not afraid,
you're afraid of your God. It's the
No.
You're scared of your other.
My sister, again, you're bringing God in. In our example, there is no God, right? In our argument. So don't bring God in. In a godless universe, we are living our life according to our own ideologies. Now, suppose I am a very powerful person. What makes me happy is making me happy by, doing all the bad things.
Right. Talk about evolution.
No.
Let's talk about. It's not really good for evolutionary for you to want to kill other people.
Wait. Evolution says in one of the models, the survival of the fittest. Maybe I am that fit guy, which has all the power and authority to destroy everyone else for that person's own happiness. So suppose that I want to be happy because that will make me fit.
You think if we're in society, I'm going to say the word God, that is what I'm going to say.
No, there is no God in this equation.
I need to talk about God.
So I find it strange though. I find it strange, my sister. What's your name? Audrey, I'm Mansoor. I find it strange. The atheists or person who doesn't believe in God, people who don't believe in God, cannot get away from bringing God into the equation. It's impossible for them. I'm saying, look, the model, I'd like you to respond. The model we are proposing it's a godless model. Yes. There is no God. Yes. So don't bring God in. We're not interested in a God in this moment. So in a model like this, in a situation like this, so I am bringing you an example. I am bringing an example where I am saying what makes me happy is to say kill people, right? Right. So if that makes me happy, that's my way of life, and you're saying no, I'm accountable to someone else. I'm saying
accountable to other humans.
Why am I accountable? Who decides that?
And they're equal. None of them is higher than him.
I don't care about other human beings.
Okay, then you are a horrible person just like you would be.
Why is he horrible?
Right. Doesn't matter if I'm horrible, that makes me happy. Because I know there is no life after death.
Let me like a higher being.
No. Again,
you are calling us other
Audrey, you're again bringing another higher being. In our model, there is no higher being. This is the all the life that we have.
People equal, no?
Brother, one second. This is all the life we have. So I know in this model, I have only how many life? Only one life. So in this one life, if killing people, raping people makes me happy. Of course, God forbid this is ever happens to anyone, right? Okay? Because we are decent people. I'm just giving you an example out of for the sake of argument. Suppose now I was that horrible person who is happy by doing all these things. And that person, me, for example, thinks this is only one life. And I think, okay, fine, I'm gonna do whatever makes me happy because that's only one life I have. Why should I be restricted by your arbitrary sense of goodness and morality and justice because somehow, you know, it will, if I don't become good to you, I might be reciprocally being bad to me by other people. But if I don't fear about bad things happening to me because I am in a position of power and authority and money and wealth, then basically you're saying I can just live my life accordingly and there should not be any accountability. What justice? What justice? Wait. What justice? No. This is a kangaroo court. What justice? There is one life. Audrey, in this model, there is no God. There is only one life, and we know that certain things makes us happy, certain things makes us sad. So, if I want to live my life and to my fullest, to fulfill my life, the one life I have, I should try to fulfill what makes me happy. This is my ideology.
That does not mean we
if by doing that, I don't care what you define as justice. Because
so you're a superhuman who can't be put in jail.
Why?
We still have lawyers, we still have society, we still have phones which I can call the police on. It's not.
I can just press a button and destroy the whole lawyers in the court and
so you're magic. You're magic.
No, it's not magic. Do you know what happens? Do you know, Audrey, do you know? Certain countries, they go to another country, certain countries, they invade another country, with some pretext. Like we went to Iraq with the pretext of weapons of mass destruction that never existed, right? And we destroyed the whole civilization and the people, thousands of children.
Okay, so
now, people do that. Now, what I'm saying is, why are you blaming them if that makes them happy in that model?
Because we all have a sense of belonging in our society.
I don't. You do. I don't. I don't.
But that does not mean that other people do not. That does not mean you are not accountable. And if you are,
why am I going to be accountable? I don't care.
I'm not saying the world is perfect. I'm not saying a world of atheism is going to result in everyone being happy and rainbows and sunshine. I'm saying, sure, there might be a corrupt person who blows up everything.
No, you call me corrupt, but that makes me happy. If something makes me happy, you call me corrupt.
Make you sad.
No. Listen. If blowing innocent people in a bus or an automobile makes me happy, you're taking my happiness away from me. You are a corrupt person. You are actually an evil person who are imposing some sense of morality and justice. Audrey, do you see that? In my view.
Now we're talking on but this has nothing to do with that just has to do with
that's the model. If there is no God, you cannot come to me and say, you know what, be good, be just. I'm saying I don't care.
Because there isn't a God and I'm saying it right now.
I'm saying you okay.
Okay.
I will say, Audrey, you are entitled to your opinion, but I don't buy it. But I'm entitled to my opinion.
I'm very happy that your religion makes you happy. I'm very happy that your religion provides you that community and that sense of purpose in life. And that is so fantastic. I'm really glad about that.
So you're okay with me killing people then?
No, I said I'm okay with you having a religion. I didn't say I was okay with you murdering.
But why do you bring religion in? I am providing a model in which there is no God, and we live in a godless society, godless nation, godless earth, with our own made purpose.
Okay, so let's just, we're not humans, okay? We're, I don't know,
humans.
Dogs for example. Dogs do not believe in
tigers.
God. That does not mean they don't have
tigers and
society,
crocodiles.
And that does not mean that they don't have cannibalism and
tigers and crocodiles. All these carnivores, which are at the top of the jungle, right? Do they say, I'm going to feel some compassion because, you know what, I'll just...
Pack creatures.
Humans, according to this model...
Creatures,
human.
We survive in groups, which means we want to preserve the groups in society.
So if you're a tiger,
I'm not a tiger.
No, if you were a tiger, would you say, I'm going to let that deer go out of compassion?
No, because
if you're hungry, and there is this deer coming through, would you say, I'm going to let it go? Or would you say, I don't care?
Well, we can think tigers don't have conscious thought and conscious